What's going on, everyone? Dragon's Art is back with another Wi-Fi battle with a new subscriber, Chris. Chris, thank you for subscribing. Before we get started, though, I kind of want to touch on something. I touched on it in my second video, and this is actually my second time recording due to this. My second video, I talked about how in the first, my voice sounded so monotone, and to be honest, guys, I really hate the way my voice sounds when I record. I think I do sound monotone, and usually I have my wife kind of, I guess, proof-view my videos before I post them, and she's kind of making fun of me. She's like, you just come across as such a jerk sometimes. So, like I said, this is my second time recording, because at one point I like to ask during certain parts of the battle what my opponent was, what his thought process was, just because I can only perceive from my own side, and, you know, there's usually key turning points every battle where, you know, you get lucky or your opponent gets lucky, and that turns the whole thing around. So in the previous attempt at recording this, I asked the guy I was battling, I was like, you know, what were you thinking at that point? And the way I worded it, my tone just came across as I even felt like it was such a jerk, and I do apologize for that. If my tone makes me come across as a jerk, I'm really going to try to work on that, guys. So now that's out of the way, let's get started. You see me bringing my obnoxious ambipom, named after my daughter Emma, because she's a little monkey that climbs on everything. Bringing the Mega Blastoise, bringing the Choice Scarfed Delphox, the Eviolite Golbat, the Choice Scarf Primeape, and my Lumberry Trevenant. I actually was not going to bring the Delphox at first. I don't like having multiple of the same items on the same team for these battles. I was going to bring Scolipede, but I got to checking my team prior to the match, and I realized that Scolipede was in the ban list for UU. So I switched him out with Delphox last second, and you see my opponent Chris is bringing a Flygon, a Starmie, a Quagsire, a Hydreigon, a Crobat, and a Roserade. So with that, let's get started. Something else, I didn't realize Hydreigon was UU until this battle, and now that I know, I'm actually really excited because I love Hydreigon. I love Dragon types. I was stoked when Charizard became a Dragon type. And, alright, now that this has started, I'm sorry about that. This battle's begun, so let's see. I start with Ambipom. He starts with Roserade, switches out right away, predicting the Fake Out. Or maybe he just didn't like the matchup, I'm not sure. But either way, he switches out into the Quagsire, which can take it like a boss. And we see Leftovers Recovery. So I got my Fake Out off. I don't like this matchup myself, so I go ahead and U-turn. You see Emma come back to me. And Quagsire, just such a tank, such a physical tank. But I go out into my Trevenant. He goes in the he tries the Waterfall, which against Trevenant, who's my physical tank anyway, and he resists it, isn't going to do much. He gets Leftovers Recovery again, and I know he's got the Roserade, so rather than go for the Leech Seed or the Horn Leech, I actually go for the Will-O-Wisp right here, just because I kind of predicted the switch a little bit. So here he actually does go out into the Roserade, so the prediction pays off. I get the burn off, and I was kind of excited about this because, you know, I get some status on some of his pokes, but I didn't realize that Roserade has Natural Cure. I think Roserade has two possible abilities, and I learned later this one has Natural Cure. So at this point I go into my Golbat, because Golbat pretty much walls Roserade really hard. He goes for Toxic Spikes, which is actually perfect because this Golbat knows Defog. But I am running Brave Bird on this one, so I see that I can get a quick kill, and I attempt to go for it. Doesn't pay off, though. He switches out into this Crobat. Now, this Crobat is a monster. He runs it about the same way I run my Golbat, except with Black Sludge, vice the Eviolite, and he protects stalls and roost stalls. And I'm not hating it all, because in this battle, I had no answer for it. This thing, like I said, it gave me fits this whole fight. But that did do a lot of damage. He sees that, he switches out, and I still haven't defogged here yet because, like I said, I've had the chance to do damage, so I went for that instead. And Golbat really wasn't taking any damage, so I didn't see the harm in it. If I could get one up real quick, why not? We see Brave Bird does some good damage, and at this point, I know that this is going to be a couple turns at least before Golbat can take out the Quagsire, so I go ahead and opt to go for the defog right here, sensing that I can't go for a quick kill. So now I get the spikes gone, he goes for the Waterfall again, but like I said, bulky Golbat is real. If you guys haven't saw the build for it, YouTube it, Google it. This set is real. It's incredible. I love it so much. So now that he gets the waterfall off, I go for the Toxic. And now Golbat's done about all he can do at this point. He's down about half HP. Oh, he goes for the Blizzard here. You see, again, he's specially bulky, doesn't do much at all. Even without... Well, I understand he's physically bulky, but still he gets the type advantage, so still doesn't do much at all. So you see you get the Toxic damage off right there. He's going to withdraw. I'm going to Roost, try to get some HP back, predicting the switch, or predicting that his physical attacks aren't going to do much damage to me. He goes out into the Starmie. Now, this thing caused me trouble too. So, I switch out into my Mega Blastoise, predicting a Scald, but he actually goes for the Thunderbolts. I should have predicted that, but I didn't. So, again, that's on me. As I said in my previous videos, I'm still learning, so, please go easy on me, guys. So, at this point, I realize I've got to pretty much let my Blastoise go down. Mega Evolve, go for the Dark Pulse on the off chance that he predicts a switch for some reason, or misclicks, I don't know. But he has no reason to go for anything other than Thunderbolt, which he does. Takes me out. And at this point, I believe I switch into my Trevenant. And, oh, we also see that he's got the Life Orb, too. No, I actually go and do my Delphox at this point, because I am actually running Switcheroo and Choice Scarf. So I kind of wanted to lock the Starmie into one move only. But he switches out into the Hydreigon, and Hydreigon now gets Choice Scarf. I get the red card, and he goes for Toxic, which is good for me, because now that Hydreigon I know is going to switch, because he's locked in the Toxic because of the Choice Scarf. So I go for the Fire Blast, I miss. It's a shame, I could have got maybe, more of a feel for this Hydreigon, see if he was, how much damage I could have done to him. But he switches out into the Crobat, and I switch out, knowing that he's going to switch out. So I get a free switch in, I go back into my Golbat, and we're back to Bat versus Bat. This whole battle boiled down to our bats duking it out, basically. And it was really good, it was incredible. I really had no answer for his Crobat. Like I said, my Golbat did a lot of damage to it, but I just couldn't get over the top. So you see him roostalling me out again. Me just trying to figure out what I got to do to get around it. Brave Bird again, and I get this one off. He doesn't protect it. Does some good damage. I get some recoil. He gets Black Sludge recovery. And like I said, this makes up a decent part of the fight, is me just trying to find a way around this Crobat. So I switch out, go into Dumbledore, my Delphox, trying to get off a a Psyshock to take him out, but I know he's faster than me, and he switches out, makes a smart play. I was kind of fearing maybe the Brave Bird, if he was maybe had some offensive investment, but he protects himself from my Fire Blast, so I really don't get a feel for it. I really strongly suspect at this point he's pure defensive because of the Toxic Stall. Way that he's seeming to run it, but I'm not sure. I never really got to see. I never really gave him a chance to hit me too much. So he switches out into... He hits the red card and gets forced to switch out into his Flygon. And Fire Blast, not very effective, but does a good amount because of the crit. You see me get some damage there. I make sort of a risky play. It's a calculated risk, though. I go for the Psyshock. He could have went back into Hydreigon. Fortunately for me, the gamble pays off, and he does not. Because if he had went into it, that would have been a pretty bad spot for me. He probably could have taken me out and still had the Flygon left over, which would have put me behind the 8-ball very much. So now he goes out into the Hydreigon, and I really have no choice other than just to let Delphox go down, which I do. And at this point, I want to say, yep, I go back into my Golbat. Because, like I said, I'm worried about this thing. I really am. He's Choice Scarf. He's now really fast, now locked in the Dragon Pulse. Golbat is very especially bulky, though, like I said. So I get off the Toxic, he gets the crit, and I can survive one more unless he crits me again. Like I said, bulky Golbat is a real thing. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would strongly suggest you doing it. As you see, it puts in so much work here. So I get the Toxic off on Hydreigon, he goes back out into his Crobat. and we go back and forth again. Like I said, this whole fight, it's Golbat, Crobat. I had no answer for his Crobat, but it kind of seems like he might not have had too much for my Golbat either. So I'll switch out right here into the Trevenant. I'm hoping to get off a Will-O-Wisp, because I really feel like I got to get some kind of residual damage on this thing, otherwise I'm not going to be able to take it down. So he protects, either predicting or scouting, works out, and he goes to withdraw, and I still go for the Will-O-Wisp. I predict him to switch out, seeing the Will-O-Wisp, and I go for the rest, rather than predict what he was going to go into. Because I knew he had a poke that was, at this point I thought his Roserade was still burned, I knew Hydreigon was poisoned, so I thought I'd go for the safe rest rather than try to make a prediction. So, you see my Lumberry wake me up, I'm back at full health, and Trevenant's ready to rock again. I harvest my Lumberry, I'm back at 100%, I'm ready to rock and roll. He goes for the Dragon Pulse. Like I said, this is it's a crit, does decent damage. It's a 2-hit KO after the crit. But since I'm able to get off the Leech Seed, I don't believe another hit will kill me, even if it's a crit. I think I could still live it at that point. So now he's toxic, now he's Leech Seeded. He really doesn't have much choice other than to switch out. So he does. Makes a smart move. And goes into his Kingpin, which is the Roserade. And I didn't predict the switch like I should have. I went for the Horn Leech. Otherwise, I probably could have made a good switch in there. But, like I said, I didn't make the prediction. He makes the play, I don't. So, good play on his part, not so much on my part. I switch out here, back into my Golbat, because, like I said, I double resist Poison and Grass. I am Poison and Flying both resist Grass, I believe. So he withdraws again, as I go for the Brave Bird, because at this point I'm like, you know what, nothing really wants to take a Brave Bird, even the Crobat, which he does switch back into. So Crobat again takes it like a boss. I get the recoil damage, he gets Black Sludge recovery, and we're back at it again. He protects again. I'm not sure, I don't remember if I predicted that. Nope, I didn't predict it. I think at this point I'm just like, you know what, I gotta power through this thing. I gotta just keep powering through it. So he goes for the Roost. I once again go for the Brave Bird, just trying to run him out of Protects, run him out of Roost, run him out of something, because I really don't have much of an answer for this. If I had kept the Scarf on my Delphox, Psyshock could have done the trick, but, we get a crit off there as you see. But I was scared of the Hydreigon, so I switcherooed and gave the Scarf to the Hydreigon, and then the Delphox got poisoned, so it just didn't quite pan out for me. You know, I thought the Hydreigon was the greater threat. In hindsight, you know. So, you see I got the crit. I Roost up, making a smart play rather than try to go for it. He goes for the Roost. Gets his HP back. And this is the point that I was talking about the early part of the video, where I'm not sure what was going through his mind at this point. I don't know if maybe he did run out, maybe he thought he could take another one, what. But right here's the point I was talking about. So, you know, I feel like this was definitely a turning point, because this is where my Golbat took out his Crobat. So, Chris, if you want to maybe leave a comment saying what you're trying to do at this point, I'd appreciate it, because I really am curious. Yeah, just see what your thought was here, because my thought was either you misclicked, you ran out of Protects, or maybe you just thought you could take another one, I don't know. But yeah, please let me know what you were thinking right there. I'm curious. You know, I really do enjoy this, and picking other people's brains makes me better in the long run, makes you better because you're picking my brain here. So hopefully I can help you guys out a little bit. Goes out to the Starmie, and I know better, so I switch out into the Trevenant, hoping to Leech Seed, hoping to burn, hoping to something on this thing. And that don't work out too well because Starmie is a beast. So I live at 11, and then he gets off a Psychic, and I'm done. No choice but to really let him go down right here. But I do get some toxic Life Orb damage off on the Starmie, so that is a plus for me. So I do go out here into Emma, my Ambipom again, trying to get, at this point I was trying to fake out, fling my King's Rock for another flinch, and then double hit for the kill. He predicts that, switches out, goes into the Quagsire. Fake out does some pretty good damage to him. You see him get the Leftovers recovery back, but he's also poisoned, so that really saves me right here. And seeing what kind of damage the fake out did, I feel like the double hit can take him out, And as you see, I predicted wrong. So he's able to get the waterfall off on me, which did worry me a bit because Ambipom's really frail. Ambipom's really frail. But I get lucky, it doesn't do too much to me. Poison then takes out the Quagsire, and I still have my Ambipom, which is very fortunate because Ambipom is such a threat on this team. I didn't get much of a chance to let him shine, or let her shine rather. But right here she puts in work because like I said, I want to do the fake out, fling, double hit. So I go to the U-turn to switch to use something else, a switch bait, and U-turn takes him out. So Ambipom, put in the work there. So at this point I switch into my Primeape, knowing he only has Roserade and Hydreigon left. He sees that, goes into the Roserade. My Primeape is Scarf, so I go first. I'm able to hit him with a close combat, and from that range it is enough to take him out. So all he has left now is Hydreigon, and I believe Hydreigon actually outspeeds Primeape. So I was kind of expecting Primeape to go down right here, and I was expecting to have to go in my Ambipom and rely on some poison and rely on, like I said, the cheapness of Ambipom. But Ambipom does outspeed here for whatever reason, so Ambipom is able to get the OHKO, and I'm able to get the win. So Chris, thank you for the match, great match. If you could, please subscribe, leave a like, rating, comment. I try to do double videos daily. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk to you guys about. I think that's pretty much it. So you guys have a good day. Dragonzard out.